Time just is. The spell is enforced by believing that time has a reference. This is a point in time. As I move from point 1 to point 2, when I get to point 19, this will appear to move, but it's not. It gives the impression that time is logical. If you look at the clock, look at the second, time is not going from one incident to the next, the incident is now happening. You were there in time, you didn't congeal, by that I mean, you were the gene, the thought, the concept, and the making of what was happening. When your great-grandmother was here, and your grandmother was there, you were already here in existence, just not placed yet. You have labeled your body with interest in this time. Infinite time is natural time. One way you can lock in on natural or infinite time, is by putting a hole of the same exact size into the bottom of 3 cups, in ancient times gourds were used. Place the cups the same exact space between each other vertically. At the bottom of the 3 cups place an open jar. Fill the first cup with water, and the water will drip through each cup to the jar. As 1 minute passes, put a line on the jar, and do this until you get to 30 minutes. When all the water has dripped from the top cup into the last cup, then you start all over again. That is natural or infinite time. This will give you the accurate time, which is necessary for the coming of the end of the world. His time is based on the lunisolar time, with leap years, seconds taken away or added to, and this is an alteration in time which will not give you the exact hour as said in Mark 13:32 but of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father, but a God does. When I said the end of the world is going to be in the year 2000 AD, I don't necessarily mean 2000 AD exactly, I mean in that period of time, because his time is altered, and is always different. Thus it is important to find the correct time. They take seconds out of time and alter their calendars and clocks in order for you not to know the time when the shams are coming for you. They don't want you to know, for the Luciferians, the Aldebarans, Pleiadians, have another plan to get out of here. You must give him back his time, and learn time again correct. Time must now be placed back on track or you will not know the exact time of the planetary alignment, nor will you know the exact time of the opening of the doorway or vortex in order to pass on to the next dimension in time. If you are going on the Gregorian time and calendar, then you would be going according to the wrong time. Because if you say the vortex is going to open on 5/5/2000 AD, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will open on May 5, 2000. That could be the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or it could be the next month. You never know. Since the Gregorian time was set according to the earth line, with the meridian, instead of the sky, how the Egyptians used to do it, then you would be waiting for the vortex to come, and it would have already came. Then you would have to wait another 10 years for the vortex to reopen. You are not supposed to be going according to the Gregorian calendar, you are supposed to be going according to the Egyptian calendar, and they had their calendar accurate according to the motion of the stars. That's why I introduced the Sahu Orion stars to you. They had it where the Sahu Orion star would come every 70 days, and they would chart it according to their calendar. If you have 361 days in your year, then when the Sahu Orion star comes in the sky, you start charting it from there, and then, you keep track of your time. 70 from 361 would be 291, so you know that every 291 days, you will see the Sahu Orion star come back up again, and you will be going according to the right time, which is going according to nature. Back then, the Egyptians would use the natural or elements of the planet Earth to know the correct time. Each metal or gives off a different smell, so when the sun hits it, and heats up the metal, from the smell, you would know which time of the day it was. The first ore was platinum, with the breaking of the dawn, then steel, then iron, then nickel, then copper, a rust color, like when the sun appears to go down. Then it went into the black of the night, and when the sun comes back around again, you had the same cycle again. This was all charted and planned out. That's how the Egyptians did their timing, according to the planet Earth, nature. Everything in the universe works on time. So we must have our own time based on life around us. It is very important to make our own calendar for the simple fact that we are basing our time reference on his time, and his time is not accurate with so many missing time, seconds, minutes, leap years, added days, minutes and seconds to his clock and calendar. His first trick in time was to give you the second without the moment which precedes it. They deceived you. The Muslims created the lunar calendar consisting of 354 days, and their god Allah created the astrology, zodiac according to them, when in actuality the Egyptians created the original zodiac on the ceiling of the temple of Hathor at Dendera, Quran 15:16, Ills he who have set out the zodiacal signs in the heavens and made them fair seeming to all beholders, and they had 355 days in their leap year, which is not accurate, and you have the Gregorian solar calendar which consists of 365 days and that is not accurate, And you also have the Hebraic calendar, which consists of 354 days, and that's not accurate. All of these calendars and many more are created for the sole purpose of confusing you, to throw off the destined, because they knew their time would run out on September 9, 1999. Listen to the cries of their youth and the world's response to their leaders. Their youth listens to demonic music like heavy metal and hard rock, suicide music. All of the suicide cults are fed by white Anglo-Saxon Christians, though many that lose their lives are ethnics. They are in the arms race for the destruction of the whole world, and they want world dominancy. One of their own, Albert Einstein, is responsible for the creation of the atomic bomb. The Caucasians have lost the trust of the rest of the world because their instabilities. Their judicial system is corrupted. No fair trials, no fair juries, no fair sentences. People don't trust the CIA, the FBI, the IRS, the Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, nor the military. People no longer want to send their children to public schools, for they are unsafe. Colleges and universities can't guarantee jobs after graduation. Viruses and diseases are attacking them. Their youth are killing each other. They are becoming their own terrorists, blowing up their own buildings. They have Americans, who are anti-America, with militia groups, paramilitary groups waiting to overthrow the government. They're having a gender deficiency, people are getting sex changes, homosexuality and lesbianism are on the rise. Widespread lewdness, nudity, lust, pornography and perversions rule the media. Their churches are being attacked by nature itself, as well as their cities. They have vigilante groups of bikers. They have gangsters and mobsters. Fire is their enemy, landslides, tornadoes, earthquakes, floods. They are testing the vague God they claim created them by unnecessary challenge called courage. Their sports have become arenas like savage beastly bloodbaths. They use the beast, the computer, to sabotage themselves as hackers. Their Christian leadership, pastors, reverends, ministers, fathers are being revealed as charlatans, embezzlers, con artists and pedophiles. Their amusement parks have become sites of multiple accidents. Their theme park rides are becoming more dangerous. They are pushing danger and destruction over the edge, daredevils. Ultraviolet rays of the sun attacks them, giving them cancer. Drugs have seized their community, from addiction to tobacco, caffeine, to synthetic drugs. Their overindulgence in alcohol beverages from the abundant use and their overconsumption of beer to hard alcohol, barbiturate, and drug abuse in their community is on the rise. Nazi-type anti-American, anti-peace has spread from a mere Ku Klux Klan to thousands of splinter groups that are self-destructive towards the American dream. Babies born deformed, genetic manipulation, artificial limbs, playing the very God they claim to respect. Synthetic foods. Organ transplants with pigs and other foul animals. Their religious doctrine, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism is on the decline as the computers reveal their inconsistencies, contradictions and obvious human input. Their lack of ability to produce facts to verify their historical claims or religious beliefs. And you ask, do we know their time ended in September 9, 1999? They are getting back what they did to other people all over the world. They rob, steal, pillage other races of people's resources. They leave them in poverty to die. Now nature is doing that to them in the form of tornadoes, twisters, hurricanes, hitting the Western Hemisphere and predominantly all Caucasian environments. Now look at the coming in sons and daughters of the ancient ones. How our children are waking up. How we are taking over in sports and in scholastics. How we are breaking away from their religious beliefs and faiths, and finding our way back home to our true identity as ancient Egyptians. How we are breaking away from their drugs and their lewd lifestyles and their evils worldwide. You can see Nubian people beginning to realize the devil is in human form. We can overcome those negative forces, however we must first break the spell that makes us lust after all he took from us, and give them back their 4 ghost spells, Gospel, the 4 synoptic Gospels, 1. The Old Testament, 2. The Psalms, 3. The New Testament, 4. The Quran, and the beliefs that came with them, which is a symbol of our mental and physical death. We lost sight and vision of self and kind. Sight, physical, and vision, spiritual. These 4 synoptic gospels was symbolic of the 4 sons of Heru, Horus, 1. Imsidi, 2. Kebasenyef, 3. Hapi, 4. Duumutf. The 4 canopic jars used at the death rite in Egypt. They place their evil forces into your body organs through breathing your breath of life. I breathed into man the breath of life, that's physical life. The beginning of your hell is heaven, then into your blood and your 4 major organs. 1. Liver, 2. Intestines, 3. Lungs, 4. Stomach, and kills our original creative forces. Physical birth is our spiritual death. Each of these organs were protected and preserved in small canopic jars at death in ancient Egypt, and symbolize the 4 sons of Haru homes. Imsidi with a person's head guarded the liver, Kebasenyef with a falcon head guarded intestines, Hapi with a baboon head guarded the lungs, and Duamut with a jackal head guarded the stomach. Only the heart, which the mummy would need when it was judged in the next world, was left. They make you, through subliminal messages, lose a sense of self-worth. 1. Self-love. 2. Self-identity. 3. Self-awareness. 4. Self-respect. They lie to us about us. They are the liar, liar. The spirit force of evil is the liar. Bible, Proverbs 17:4, John 8:44, their God. You are of your father, the devil. He was a liar and killer, and gets into your being according to the ancients, and makes you a liar. A spirit, good or evil, is conscious gases that can reproduce spirit gases from blood and water in order to emanate. They call it getting the Holy Ghost, which is being possessed. There are many kinds of spirit. 1. Ether. 2. Ghost, and these forces represent the opposites of the same thing, spirit force. One, the living, and the other, the dead. The truth, the liar, the black, the white, sun, for the sun sits in darkness, and moon, yet the moon is bathed in light, and has none of its own. As they have no soul, inner light of their own. They're like vampires, drain you of your soul, and so on. Many people wonder why the expression, Caucasians have no soul exist, and associate it with their lack of emotional expression through music and dance. But in fact, it goes deeper than that. The word for soul is also sol for sun, so when they call black people solar plex people, soul people, people with rhythm and emotional expression, they are in fact calling you sun people or Rees people. Egyptians. The sun agrees with black people, but disagrees with pale or Caucasians. It's burning and even killing these soulless or sunless people by the skin disease cancer, as in the zodiac sign. When the whole galaxy crosses the zodiac in 2 opposite points, Cancer, the sun, or high point in Capricorn. These are your tropical points. The sun's glorious course called the gateway to the sun cycle, the royal arch through which we all passed. The gate to heaven. He who is born of the sun in the last days is the true Savior. The Son of Righteousness comes with healing on his wings. This is that very day, and a healing is the sun for black people and a curse for pale people. No sun, no soul. They even record it in their own Bible as their souls leaving them, as their spirit, when in fact the Hebrew word in the quote is ruach for wind as in soul, breath, life, not nepesh, as in spirit and self. Joshua 5:1, and I quote, and it came to pass, when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that the YHWH cord had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel, until we were passed over, that their heart melted, neither was their buick soul, nepesh spirit, in them any more, because of the children of Israel. So, within their own records, they speak of the possibility of the soul leaving. Then if we turn to the 23rd Psalms, verse 3, it reads, He restoreth my soul. In this quote nepesh is used, the word for spirit and self. They will cry for each other, but they have no concern for no other race. Just like a dog will cry for another dog, but you will never see a dog crying for a rabbit. The same way the Tamahu will not cry for a dead Nubian, Oriental, Hispanic, etc., even if they killed them. They have no care for no one but their race, or their species. It's an animal instinct, not an emotion. They instinctively respond to each other the way wolves remain in packs, or tigers and lions, all stay in groups or packs. Most of your blood-eating carnivorous animals by nature hunt and run in packs. This is why Tamas form clubs, army, even country clubs, or police academy, etc. They function better in packs like baboons. To have a spirit or nepesh, and to be living heya, is not the same as having a soul. Soul is the existence of deity in the being. The law of concern, of responsibility to other living teachers. Nuwapians by nature have that soul and care for all others. Canaanites on the other hand put their pets above other humans. In particularly the dog, which when written in dyslexia or backwards, comes out to be God. The dog, God is a Nubu or Anubis, the jackal dog. Whether a spirit is good or evil depends on whom it is for or against. A spirit can be good at one time and evil at another time. As people change from good force to evil force. Black or white. Like night and day. A person can be with and for you one moment, then be turned against you in an instant. It is considered a good spirit to those it's for and an evil spirit to those it is against. When they return to the evil force they feel free. They think to be in the struggle was an imprisonment. When they rejoin the world of evil they are happy because they are no longer fighting against evil forces. They have become one of them, paid them, to work for and with them. So they really think they are free, and their body is, but their soul is not. Regardless of whether it is ether or ghost. Of course, a spirit is good to those it helps and evil to those it harms. Like white magic, spirit force of evil, and black magic, spirit force of good. Once a black person returns to their world and way of thinking, white magic has triumphed over them and all their family and seed, all alive and dead. Ether can produce ghost, but ghost cannot produce ether, just as black people can produce white people, or albino, but albino cannot produce black people. They need you to want to be them, in that way they get your soul seed. You become dead, cut off from the black mind. Fear, fright, terror, horror. Scare tactics is their game. To scare you into submission to his spook god, which is a spirit ghost, or the afterlife, a dead being. If you don't do what it says in one of its Gospels, Old Testament, Psalms, New Testament, and Quran, you will suffer your soul in all for eternal damnation, purgatory, hell or Hellenism. They have you believing in the unseen, gods and demons, angels and spooks. Having faith in the unsubstantiated power that has not been proved to exist, spookism, nor harmed you. They harm you each day of your life. The Negroid or black race can produce all other races, but no race can produce black people. Black people are the parents, the mother and father of all other races, being the first of all other races found on this planet, says archaeologists. The last race by skin color, that is melanin recessive, is the transparent ghost race, falsely called the white race, who is the albino, leper, the grafted man, made man, man's kind, the Caucasoid race. They are the ghost race. They are zombies, walking dead without souls. Ghost is spirit, the god of the lepers, and they through fear and control spell bind all other races with their white magic and turn all other against the black race of deity, their own mothers and fathers. Therefore ghost is spirit, the god of albino Caucasians, and thereby spell binds others for Caucasians, used it all in the words you spell. And ether is the soul, the deity, of black people, soul people. According to the ancient Egyptians, ether looks like fire, Ra, the sun, or black smoke. The black corona that surrounds the sun, people of the sun. And ghost looks like fog. Ghost is water, soul is unquenchable fire, solar plex, central sun. An albino goes through a ghost process during his or her gestation period in the mother's womb, and their skin is transparent, and that process greatly lessens color pigmentation or melanin in the skin. When the child is an offspring of black parents, he or she has pigment or are melaninized children of the sun. The moon god is the ghost spirit. The sun god is the soul. Since spirits are gas forces, they can enter a person's body at will, called walk-ins, and leave at will, just walk out. You breathe them in through your mouth with a kiss or through your nostrils, nose, breath. They have a form of leprosy called Hansen's or Hamsun's disease, mucus blockage of their nose. The mucous membranes of the nose, mouth, and throat are invaded by large numbers of organisms. Because of damage to the nerves, muscles become paralyzed, which results in the loss of sensations. This explains their spastic movements in their dance and their lack of sensation, which results in outlandish sexual activity. Liver spots, elephantiasis, and skin cancer. So many of them breathe out of their mouth. As you breathe in, they are breathing out, sucking up your life force. So your own blood can become one of them like a vampire. Your best friend, mate, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, your parents, brother, sister, and all others that can get near to you, they can change on you in an instance. They are with you, and for you one moment and against you the next. Just that quick, become possessed. They can be with you then up and leave and have a full change of heart to become one of the devils, black devils, of, for and by them against their own. Sometimes the evil spirit force step in and out of them before they realize what happened, and they turn on those that loved and care for them, and other times they feel they are doing the right thing. It's the 6 forces of the sex force that rules them. It's always their needs and wants which turn them into black devils. And incarnation takes place in this same way. A person can be engendered only by a fleshly father and fleshly mother. Their parents are or were evil, so it's in their genes, because they are conceived in lust and pleasure, unlike the original purpose. So they become products of greed, lust and pleasure. What their parents were thinking and engaging at conception, self-sexual gratification. And the person is predestined to become a devil or a god deity. Many are contacted by hearing voices in their heads or seeing visions, mental contact. During the mental contacts there may be an offer made for the person to accept or reject, a new job, money, things, love. The person usually accepts the offer because he or she is usually in no position to reject it, already being unhappy and depressed and having so many needs and desires of their own. They feel you are holding them back, so they begin to hate the truth and struggle. They just give in. When the offer is accepted, the spirit forces themselves make physical contact and they become incarnate. They just brush by or shake your hand or touch you flesh to flesh. It's called the laying on of hands, and seep into you. In church, greeting in Islam, an excuse to touch, lean or make physical contact. They just have to touch you or your children. Then there's the kiss of death. Seeping through the flesh to the lungs, and from there they dilate themselves throughout your being. The flesh and blood of the person. Then the person and the spirit forces, the god of white magic, are the same image and likeness. The evil god or ghost spirit force becomes the image of the person, and they work for evil against self and kind. They make you think to kiss is a sign of affection, but in reality it is a link to infection and disease. The mouth has more disease than any other part of the human body. Kiss in dyslexia or backwards is sick, or sickness,